And an Asia so threatened by communist domination would certainly imperil the security of the United States itself.
In 1887, France took control of the Indochina territory, which included Vietnam. During the early 20th century, Vietnamese nationalism started to rise, and many called for the independence of Vietnam from France. This independence movement was led by the communist leader Ho Chi Minh. France tried to resist, but the forces led by Ho Chi Minh won and Vietnam got its independence. Vietnam was now divided into a communist north led by Ho Chi Minh and an anti-communist south led by Ngo Dinh Diem. The US gave economic aid to the South Vietnam in order to build an anti-communist state. This action was backed by the belief of the domino theory, which feared that if Vietnam fell to communism, other Southeast Asian nations would follow to do the same. As the war went on, the US continued to send soldiers into South Vietnam to contain the communist North. With the assassination of Diem in South Vietnam, which was backed by the US government, the war began to increasingly become more of a responsibility of the US. During Kennedy's and Johnson's presidencies, over 500,000 troops were in Vietnam and 16,000 Americans had already died. This caused many debates over the purpose of the war in American society. War hawks supported the war and saw it as an act of communist aggression who were trying to take over all of Southeast Asia. On the other hand, many also saw the war as a civil war fought by North Vietnam in order to unite the country and overthrow the central government in Saigon. They saw no reason for the US to be involved in the conflict. This view was further backed up in 1968 when the Tet Offensive occurred, in which the US inflicted heavy losses to the Vietnamese, and it was shown on television for all of the American people to see. This created a great opposition in society, and anti-war protests started to emerge, especially in colleges. Many saw no purpose in fighting the war, and for the first time through television, people witnessed the horrible destruction of war. After the end of the previous wars, veterans were treated with glory and nationalistic pride, but after the North Vietnamese took over the US government that was supported in Saigon and the Vietnam War was over, veterans were shunned from society. This was the first war where all of society truly saw the atrocities of combat, and due to that, no nationalistic and patriotic pride was present in American society after the war. Kurt Vonnegut served as an infantry battalion in order to support the D-Day invasion. He then fought in the Battle of the Bulge and was captured and sent to Dresden as a prisoner of war. Vonnegut experienced the Allied bombing of Dresden while hiding in a meat locker 3 stories under the ground. Vonnegut saw the destruction firsthand and stated it was where he truly saw the meaningless and wastefulness of war. In addition to this, Vonnegut wrote a letter to the government supporting his son's decision to refuse to fight in the Vietnam War, stating that there is ultimately no hope in war at the end of the letter, and also conveying the viewpoint that the act of killing has become thoughtless. Due to these experiences, in Slaughterhouse-5, Kurt Vonnegut interprets the Vietnam War as one of misunderstanding and senseless destruction that was ultimately constructed by the US government.